Have you ever found yourself wide awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, wondering why sleep suddenly feels like a distant memory? You're not alone, my friend. So many of us over 60 toss and turn at that same hour, night after night, feeling like the world's forgotten how to be quiet. But here's the thing, it's not just one of those things that comes with aging. That 3 a.m. wake-up call might actually be your body trying to tell you something important. And today, we're going to uncover what that is. Now, I know what you might be thinking, isn't it normal to sleep less as we get older? Well, yes, to a point. Our sleep patterns do change with age. But waking up at the exact same time every night, feeling restless or anxious, that's not just a quirk. It could be a hidden sign that something's off balance in your body. And the good news is, once we understand the why, we can start working on the how to reclaim those precious hours of rest. Let's start with something you might not expect, your hormones. Now, I know hormones might sound like a young person's problem, but they play a huge role in our sleep cycles, no matter our age. See, as we get older, our bodies produce less melatonin, that's the hormone that helps us drift off. But there's another hormone, cortisol, that's sneaking onto the scene. Cortisol is your stress hormone, and it's supposed to peak in the morning to wake you up. But if you're stressed, unwell, or even eating too late at night, cortisol can spike too early, like, say, 3 a.m. Suddenly, your body's confused. Is it time to worry or time to sleep? And just like that, you're wide awake, replaying that awkward thing you said in 1972. Here's where it gets tricky. That cortisol spike isn't just about stress. It can be tied to other health issues common in seniors, like blood sugar imbalances or even thyroid problems. Let me give you an example. My neighbor, Betty, sharp as a tack, 68 years young, started waking up at 3 a.m. like clockwork. She figured it was just aging, until her doctor discovered her cortisol levels were through the roof. Turns out, her thyroid was underactive, and her body was overcompensating. Once she got treatment, she slept through the night for the first time in years. Now, let's talk about something many of us deal with daily, medications. If you're like most seniors, you might take a pill or 2, or 5, to manage health conditions. But did you know some of those medications could be sabotaging your sleep? Blood pressure pills, antidepressants, even over-the-counter diuretics can disrupt your sleep cycle. For instance, diuretics, often called water pills, can send you sprinting to the bathroom all night long. And beta blockers for blood pressure? They've been known to reduce melatonin production. It's like a double whammy. Your meds are keeping you healthy, but they're also keeping you up. Now, I'm not saying you should stop taking your prescriptions. Please don't do that without talking to your doctor. But here's what you can do. Have an open conversation with them. Ask, could any of my medications affect my sleep? Sometimes, adjusting the timing or dosage makes all the difference. Betty's doctor switched her thyroid medication to mornings, and that alone helped her cortisol levels settle down. Small tweaks, big results. Look, I know this might feel overwhelming. But here's the takeaway. Waking up at 3 a.m. isn't a life sentence. It's a clue, a nudge to look a little deeper. And the sooner we address these hidden factors, the sooner you can get back to sleeping soundly and waking up refreshed. Because you deserve that. Now, hormones and medications are two big pieces of the puzzle. But there's more to this story, like how your daily habits might be quietly working against you. Things you'd never suspect, from that evening cup of tea to the way you wind down before bed. Let's dive into that next, because knowledge is power, and power leads to better sleep. Stick with me, friend. We're just getting started. You know, sometimes the biggest culprits behind those 3 a.m. wake-up calls are the habits we'd never think to question. Take that evening cup of tea, for example. Now, I love a good cup of chamomile before bed as much as the next person. It's soothing, right? But here's the catch. Not all teas are created equal. If you're sipping black tea or even some green teas after dinner, you might as well be drinking a shot of espresso. They contain caffeine, and as we age, our bodies process caffeine more slowly. That little cup could still be buzzing through your system long after midnight, leaving your brain wide awake while your body begs for rest. Let me tell you about my Uncle Frank. He swore his herbal nighttime tea was the reason he slept like a log, until I pointed out it had peppermint, which, for some folks, can cause acid reflux. Sure enough, He'd been waking up at 3 a.m. with heartburn, blaming old age. Switched to ginger and turmeric blend? Problem solved. Moral of the story: even healthy habits might need a second look. Now, let's talk about your wind-down routine. Back in the day, you might have stayed up late watching Johnny Carson or reading a thriller novel. But these days, your evenings probably look different, and that's okay. What matters is how you're unwinding. If you're scrolling through news headlines or binge-watching crime dramas right before bed, your brain stays in alert mode. It's like revving a car engine and then wondering why it won't idle. Your body needs time to shift gears from go to slow. Try this instead: about an hour before bed, dim the lights and do something monotonous. Fold laundry. Knit. Listen to soft music or an audiobook with a calm narrator, nothing too suspenseful. My Aunt Marge swears by her nightly ritual of Sudoku puzzles. She says the numbers lull her mind into a peaceful fog. The key is consistency. Your brain starts linking those activities with sleep, like Pavlov's bell for relaxation. And here's something you might not realize: the light in your home after sunset matters more than you think. You've heard about blue light from screens, but even your lamps could be working against you. Bright overhead lights trick your brain into thinking it's midday, suppressing melatonin. Swap those bulbs for warmer, dimmer ones in the evening, or better yet, use table lamps with orange-toned light. It's like sunset for your living room, signaling to your body that it's time to wind down. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: pain. Maybe your knees ache, your back stiffens up, or arthritis nudges you awake. Pain doesn't just happen to flare at 3 a.m., it's often because your body's natural anti-inflammatory hormones dip during the night. So when the Tylenol wears off and cortisol hasn't kicked in yet, bam, you're awake. But before you resign yourself to a lifetime of midnight discomfort, let's get creative. Heat therapy works wonders here. A microwavable heating pad or even a warm bath before bed can loosen stiff joints. My friend Carl, 78, still plays tennis twice a week, uses a heated blanket on his lower back all night. Says it's like sleeping on a cloud. And if heat isn't your thing, gentle stretches before bed can make a world of difference. Think cat-cow poses or slow ankle rolls. The goal isn't to break a sweat, it's to whisper to your body, "Hey, let's take it easy tonight." Look, I know changing habits can feel daunting. You've had routines for decades. But small tweaks add up. Start with one thing: swap that evening tea, dim the lights 30 minutes earlier, try a heating pad. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Progress, not perfection, right? Of course, sometimes the reason you're awake has less to do with your habits and more to do with what's happening while you're asleep. Things like sleep apnea or restless legs, conditions many seniors dismiss as normal aging. But here's the truth: gasping for air or twitching through the night isn't something to shrug off. It's your body sounding an alarm. And addressing it could mean the difference between surviving and thriving in your golden years. But here's the good news: you've already taken the hardest step, learning what's possible. Every bit of awareness puts you back in the driver's seat. And when we pick this up next time, we'll tackle those deeper layers, the surprising connections between your sleep, your health, and even your dreams. Because yes, what happens in your mind at 3 a.m. matters just as much as what's happening in your body. Until then, why not try one tiny change tonight? Your future well-rested self will thank you. Let's talk about what happens when your eyes are closed but your mind is wide awake. You know the feeling: lying there at 3 a.m., heart racing, thoughts spinning like a carousel you can't step off. Maybe you're replaying a conversation, worrying about a loved one, or even fixating on something as simple as, did I lock the front door? It's exhausting. But here's the truth: those midnight worries aren't just random. They're often tied to a hormonal tango happening in your body and your mind. Earlier, we talked about cortisol, the stress hormone, but there's another player here: adrenaline. When cortisol spikes too early, it can drag adrenaline along for the ride. Suddenly, your body's in fight-or-flight mode at 3 a.m., even though the only threat is the quiet darkness. Your heart pounds, your muscles tense, and your brain starts catastrophizing. What if the pension check doesn't clear? What if I never fall back asleep? It's a vicious cycle. But breaking it starts with something simple: your breath. Try this tonight. When anxiety hits, breathe in slowly through your nose for 4 counts, hold it for 4, then exhale for 6. It's called box breathing, and it's like a reset button for your nervous system. My buddy Ed, retired firefighter, tough as nails, swears by it. He says it's the only thing that quiets his midnight parade of worries. And science backs him up. Slow breathing activates your vagus nerve, telling your body, we're safe. We can rest. It's not magic, but it's pretty close. Now, let's talk about something we rarely associate with sleep: loneliness. Studies show that seniors who feel isolated often struggle with sleep disruptions.
Why?
Because loneliness triggers the same stress response as physical danger. Your body stays alert, waiting for connection, like a soldier keeping watch. But here's the good news: even small doses of social warmth can help. A phone call with a grandchild, a morning coffee with a neighbor, even petting a dog. These moments release oxytocin, the cuddle hormone, which soothes cortisol's sharp edges. So if you're lying awake missing someone, try this: picture their face. Imagine their voice. It's not the same as a hug, but it reminds your heart you're not alone. And then there's the mystery of dreams. Ever wake up at 3 a.m. from a vivid, emotional dream? Maybe even one about a loved one who's passed? It can leave you rattled, wondering, what does this mean? While I'm no dream analyst, here's what sleep experts say: your brain processes emotions and memories during REM sleep. As we age, we spend less time in REM, which means those moments might feel more intense when they happen. It's like your mind's playing catch-up. So if you're jolted awake by a powerful dream, try jotting down a word or two in a bedside notebook. It's not about interpreting it, just acknowledging it. Often, that's enough to quiet the storm. Now, let's circle back to something practical: your dinner plate. You've probably heard, don't eat late, but let's dig deeper. Heavy, spicy, or sugary meals before bed can cause indigestion or blood sugar crashes, both notorious 3 a.m. culprits. But protein, interestingly, can be a double-edged sword. A small protein snack before bed, think a slice of turkey or a spoonful of peanut butter, stabilizes blood sugar, but too much protein taxes your digestion. Balance is key. My cousin Lorraine, a night owl her whole life, started having a half banana with almond butter at 8 p.m., and her 3 a.m. wake-ups dropped by half. Tiny change, big payoff. Here's the bottom line, friend: your body is wise. It's been with you through decades of laughter, challenges, and change. When it whispers to you at 3 a.m., it's not to punish you, it's to guide you. Maybe it's saying, let's manage stress better, or get that sleep apnea checked, or even reach out to someone today. The answers aren't one size fits all, but they are within reach. So let's recap: from hormones to bedtime tea, medications to midnight breathing, you've got tools. Start small. Pick one thing that resonates, maybe the breathing technique or a tweak to your evening routine, and give it an honest try. Progress over perfection, remember? And if you've already made a change, share it in the comments below. Your story could be the nudge someone else needs to finally reclaim their sleep. Before I go, I want to leave you with this: aging isn't about losing, it's about adapting. You've spent a lifetime adapting, and this is no different. You've got the wisdom, the strength, and now, the knowledge. So here's to quieter nights, deeper rest, and mornings where you wake up feeling like you again. If this resonated with you, do me a favor. Hit that like button, share it with a friend who's been battling 3 a.m. wake-ups, and subscribe if you haven't already. Together, let's make the second half of life the best half. Thanks for being here, friend. Sleep well.